Good afternoon, I'm Milton Walker with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A police officer is in custody after allegedly killing his wife in Tower Isle, St. Mary this morning. The accused has been identified as Kirk Lawrence. His wife is also identified as Janet Hardy Lawrence. She's a businesswoman of St. Anne Parish. The circumstances leading up to the killing are unclear at this time, but we'll have much more information on this story in primetime news at 7. The councillor for the Yorktown Division, Youthfel Purcell, is echoing the call for the government to establish a crime-fighting strategy to resolve the country's crime problem. His call follows a double murder in Yorktown, Clarendon last night. Up to news time, the identities of the persons were not released. It's not clear how the incident unfolded, but TVJ News understands that the two persons were common law partners from Yorktown.
They have been operating a shop out on the main road, and they come on to their resident now and build that little shop, and they start run it, and just try to make life. And that's what I'm saying. I don't know why they could have gone in and take out their lives like that.
This brings the number of persons killed in Yorktown over the last 2 weeks to 3. 2 weeks ago, 39-year-old Antoinette Bernard was shot and killed at a party in the area. Frustrated about the number of killings in Clarendon, Councillor Purcell is now looking to the government for solutions.
There's still continuous shooting in the communities, and I don't know when this is going to stop. But I'm calling on the government to see how best they can deal with the issue. And I think Clarendon more than ever need some form of resolution in respect of dealing with the crime that has taken over all of Clarendon.
He's also urging residents to break their silence.
And I'm begging the citizens of Yorktown to speak to those who they might know that are carrying the guns and are taking out people's lives like this, to desist from doing so, because it is very painful. To lose a mother and a father, a young child lose a mother and a father, it's not easy. And no one would like to lose their mother and father in this kind of way. So I'm begging and beseeching for it to stop.
Businessmen and women in St. Anne are being prodded by the Finance Minister to demand lower interest rates. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark raised the issue in a speech to the St. Anne Chamber on the weekend. Dr. Clark also called for more people to build houses, given a more favourable environment to do so. More in this report from TVJ's O'Shane Masters.
Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark on the weekend in St. Anne, urging businesses to press banks on interest rates.
When you go to see your bank on Monday morning, ask them, so wait a minute, the minister tell me that the central bank reduced the rate 10 times in 2 years, and it's now 0.75%. Just look at them and say, what about me?
It's the latest attempt to pressure banks to make further cuts to interest rates on loans to consumers and investors. Already, mortgage companies have been responding. Dr. Clark even pointing out that he has seen rates fall below 7%.
With mortgage rates at that so low, it opens up new possibilities for the consumer, for the individual, for those in the market to buy the home for the very first time, and for the business.
He pointed out that in the last 3 years, the National Housing Trust NHT financed or built more houses than in any 3-year period for the past 20 years. But that, he said, did nothing to reduce pent-up demand.
Just recently, 1,500 of those NHT homes came to market in Montego Bay, and there were over 10,000 applications. So anybody who is thinking about a business to go in, the business of providing homes, affordable homes for everyday Jamaicans, is an area of unbounded demand.
And that more so, he says, with affordable financing now available. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
The National Water Commission, the NWC, is reporting a slight improvement in inflows at most of its supply systems since last weekend's rains. On Monday, our news centre reported that water levels at the Mona Reservoir and the Hermitage Dam had increased marginally. In an update last night, the NWC said it was a similar situation at other facilities. However, NWC's Corporate Communications Manager, Charles Buchanan, says the water woes caused by the dry spell are far from over.
The National Water Commission has seen an increase in the inflows into most of our storage facilities and intakes across the country as a result of the rains over the weekend. Unfortunately, however, the improvement has not been significant enough as yet to lift us out of the low flow conditions that we were experiencing. But it is a good sign, and were the rains to continue, we expect that we should see some improvement.
The sentiments are the same for the Director of the Meteorological Services Division, Evan Thompson. He says that the island is expected to get rain until Wednesday. And an editorial note. In our newscast yesterday, we reported that the Police Federation was upset that a businessman had to pay for the CT scan for one of the two policemen shot and injured during Sunday's robbery in Clarendon. However, further checks by TVJ News have revealed that this is not so. The CT scan was paid for by the police force's welfare officer. The full payment of all costs incurred for the treatment of the lawmen were borne by the Jamaica Constabulary Force. We apologise for the incorrect information. And it's time now for a break. More stories in our midday newscast right after these messages. Welcome back. Continuing the news. Two sets of investors are seeking to purchase the under-pressure airline Fly Jamaica. Owner of the airline, Captain Ronald Rees, confirmed the information during a brief interview with our news centre. Sources told our news centre that Fly Jamaica has been in talks with one group for almost a year. That group, said to be out of France, has offered to buy the airline, make redundancy payments and clear other debts owed by Fly Jamaica. However, Captain Rees told our news centre that he is unable to comment any further as talks are ongoing. TVJ News has learned that the airline currently owes several airports various fees. News of the talks with investors come weeks after TVJ News reported that more uncertainty is looming surrounding the future of Fly Jamaica. It comes following confirmation that the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, JCAA, suspended the airline's air operating certificate. Director General of the JCAA, Nari William Singh, in an interview with our news centre recently, said the action was taken as Fly Jamaica had not been operating for some time. It closed operations in March and made the positions of its workers redundant. The airline has been struggling since one of its planes crash-landed at the Chedijagan International Airport in Guyana last November. Parents and teachers of the Clonmel Primary and Junior High School in St. Mary this morning staged a protest to voice their concerns about the school's principal. The placard-bearing protesters demanded that the principal be removed immediately. The protesters who padlocked the gates insisted that the school will remain closed until the principal is removed.
I am sorry that it has to be at this cost to our students and also to the teachers who are here this morning, but we need this principal to go.
In the meantime, TVJ News understands that a meeting will be held this afternoon between the board chairman and the teachers. Patients of the Yalas Health Centre in St. Thomas are expressing concern about the non-function of the clinic recently. The patients say they have showed up for their appointments only to be sent home due to a lack of water at the health facility.
I'm supposed to be here today to pick up some, to see the doctor get medication. And when they come, they take all our documents, but there is no water at that time. So we have to go and say we must go home and be back on Friday.
They say the main reason for the lack of water is a pump that has been poorly maintained over the years. One resident pointed to an ongoing challenge to store water.
When water run in the tank leak, nobody come and repair it. Friday we come to clinic, we can't dress because the water not here. Come back this morning again with no water. Them a try to use bucket water to fit dress with. We can't complain because the nurses are trying. But this is going on too bad, not for too long. The other thing, if my main road, we're not supposed to struggle so.
Efforts were made recently to repair the pump at the clinic, but without success. 7 passengers, including the driver of a Toyota Wish motor car, were rushed to the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital this morning after the vehicle crashed into a wall along the Discovery Bay main road. Reports indicate that the driver of the car, which was travelling from Discovery Bay towards Trelawney, overtook a line of traffic when another vehicle was spotted making a right-about turn. The car swerved to avoid a head-on collision and crashed into a wall located at the Naranda Bauxite Pier. At least 3 persons received serious injuries. In news overseas, at least 12 people have been killed in severe storms which have affected 3 states in the United States. There seems to be no break for millions of people. The details from the CNN.
Holy cow. A massive EF1 twister caught on camera tearing through Charles City, Iowa, damaging 11 structures. Just one of dozens reported across several states over the holiday weekend, in a relentless and deadly tornado outbreak that is showing no signs of letting up. More than 170 tornadoes reported in just the last week.
It's just unbelievable how violent, and you just can't imagine anybody being able to survive. So I know we've got people that are fighting for their lives in OU Medical Center right now.
A state of emergency for the entire state of Oklahoma that's been hit extremely hard in the past several days.
People that were on the top floor of that hotel, it was just kind of wiped out. And when we saw the trailers, they're just completely demolished. One had the floor there, but a lot of them it looked like they were blown up.
This mass devastation in El Reno caused by an EF3 tornado.
We've got water still rising in the east, so we're not out of the woods yet. It still could get worse.
Widespread floods have swallowed entire communities, forcing more than 1,000 people from their homes in Tulsa.
There's no proper reaction to this. You feel everything. You feel sad, you feel angry.
In sports, the West Indies were bowled out for 421 runs in 49.2 overs against New Zealand in their final warm-up game in Bristol ahead of the World Cup. Shai Hope top scored for the Caribbean side with 101, while Evan Lewis and Andre Russell added half-centuries. Trent Bolt took 4 for 50 for the Kiwis. At sports time, the New Zealanders were 222 for 5 of 33.4 overs. The Kiwis need another 200 rounds of 99 balls to secure victory. Sheldon Cottrell, O'Shane Thomas and Ashley Nurse and Kemar Roach have taken a wicket each. The West Indies' first game of the World Cup is on Friday against Pakistan. The Reggae Girls will be looking to extend their unbeaten run to 8 games as they face Scotland at Hampden Park this afternoon. This will be Jamaica's final warm-up game prior to the World Cup in France. Scotland, who are also making their debut at the World Cup next month, are ranked 20th in the world. Jamaica is ranked at number 53. Kickoff is at 1:35 Jamaica time, and we'll have the result of that match in Primetime Sports. And that's Midday News. I'm Milton Walker. Join us at 7 for Primetime News on behalf of the news, sports and production teams. Have a good afternoon.